Hello and welcome to the Utropeia podcast, the podcast where we talk about tropes. And I am your host, Ken, so catch me if you can. And this week we have some co-hosts and special guests. I'm going to start from the top of the list and work my way down. From the top rope and directly into your ears, it's Anna Cranberry!
My name's Anna, rhymes with banana, eat it for breakfast. Moving on down the list, we have Bill.
Mr.Yu video, and I'm not the host anymore.
Sorry,
Hello.
Nancy.
Hello.
I wasn't going to carry on with this. You two go back to being the hosts.
There's a battle for a hostship.
And as the Earth hosts the Moon from his castle, made out of glass and throat punches, it's Chris Moonjump!
Moonjump! Hey, make you wanna.
And from his dystopian throne, coming into our universe, it's Saker, the Dinglin Dimmsdale.
Ooh, that's me. The crowd goes wild.
And from the emergency room, it's Todd Ogredose.
Oh, hi.
Sorry about your accident, Todd. That's really unfortunate.
Well, an Ogredose is hard to come back from.
Oh.
Starting them early now.
Everyone wants to get in one. You gotta get in one.
You gotta get at least one.
But yeah, we're glad to have Saker, aka Dimmsdale, with us this week. He usually hosts the Dystropia podcasts, of which we've only had one out so far.
Yeah, we taped the second. It'll be out someday, maybe.
Someday, maybe.
Yeah.
Sunday.
If I choose to edit it.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta give you the theme song too, the Frasier.
Well,
You can put that on there.
we'll do something. We were going to. Maybe I'll actually make a theme song.
Oh, good.
to
Cool.
put in there.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem. We are glad to have you. This week we are talking about the heel face turn, and we will get into that. But we're all friends here, and we like to catch up. And if you don't like ketchup, then try mustard. But we're going to. Or
I
catsup.
mayo just do that.
Oh.
In hindsight, that was a good joke.
Ken, if this is a podcast, they must heard it anyway, right? Oh!
Late connection for me.
I like to think that
I
you were
see what
like
you
debating
condiment.
it.
God, I'm relishing this conversation.
Oh, mustard.
Good enough.
Really Max Mercury that one. And no explanation was given.
We'll get into that inside joke in just a second, but let's talk to Todd about what he's excited for.
Oh,
Pumped out about
I'm
this week.
first.
Bottom up, yep.
I got to go to Best Buy during E3, so I got to
Yay!
see Smash Brothers go on in person.
How was it?
It was cool. I really want to play as Little Mac. He looks like really fun, kind of like the really cool gimmick to play as. But I did get to see everyone released up into Rosalina, I'm gonna say. So none of the new announces, but it was cool to see like all the new characters and kind of get like a feel for what they do. The line was like super long, so I didn't get to actually play them, but just seeing them in person was pretty awesome. And one of the matches ended literally as the Mega Man Final Smash was going off, so the entire store freaked out as the screen froze with all the Mega Men just across the whole screen. But that's it for me. Oh, there's a new Guardians trailer out today too.
Oh, cool. I have not seen it.
I think it's like an international one.
Yeah, the international trailer.
And it shows it as a little more serious as the other ones have. Like you kind of get like a little more of what the story is about. But yeah, check it out. It's really cool looking. That's it for me though.
Cool. Bueno. Dimmsdale, I know you didn't prepare one, but is there anything that you're super excited about, or anything that kind of bummed you out this week, or anything that you're just kind of getting into?
Yeah. Well, I also, I mean, all the Smash Brothers news that came out of E3. I'm such a huge Smash Brothers nerd, and I didn't think that I would be excited for Pac-Man, but God, his trailer was so much fun, and him being like the Namco representative because he's got like the planes from Xevious and
Yeah, I
Galaga.
like that he did
Yeah.
the Galaga zoom like suck thing.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. That's and his stage, the Pac-Land stage. I didn't know I wanted, but now, God, I cannot.
I did
live
kind of
without
freak
it.
out over Pac-Land.
Yeah. So yeah, Smash Brothers. What else have I been doing? I've been marathoning Orange is the New Black season 2 on Netflix because I really like
just
season 1.
got done with that show too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much. It's so good.
Good to me. Very
But
good
that's
to
it.
me. Yeah.
I am done.
Oh, I guess that's me next, technically. I saw How to Train Your Double Dragon, and it was really cool. Jimmy and Bimmy are back on the big screen training dragons, and that was a lot of fun. I'll say this about the movie. It is beautiful in terms of the art. How to Train Your Dragon 2, if I may get serious for a second. But it is just absolutely beautiful with the animation and like it is scenery porn, pure and simple. It's just really cool to look at. They've got a whole bunch of new dragons, which is also kind of cool. If you like, what's your name, what's your power type movies, which I kind of do. I don't know. Without giving too much away, if you like the first one, I think you'll like this one. Is that safe to say? Would you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. And on to Kreese.
Oh, well, this week I'm excited because today the Lego movie dropped.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about
And yeah, so I wound up picking up the special edition because I wanted the minifig.
What'd you get?
And I'm obsessed
Does
with
it come
that.
with Emmett or something?
No,
it
it's
comes
got
with,
it's got God, no, go ahead, Bill, because I totally blanked on his name.
I can't remember his name
What?
either. You
See,
made, like,
that's
the
what
Master
happened.
Builder.
Oh, the Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Vesuvius.
Yeah.
Vesuvius. I was gonna say Lucius, and I knew that was wrong.
No, that's a different movie.
Red.
I
It's
j-
Red, correct?
Yes.
It's God from Bruce Tim Almighty.
Actually, that's pretty close.
Bruce Tim Almighty.
Yeah, he made Batman, the
Yeah.
God
And
series,
the universe.
the goddamn series.
Speaking of making ofs, I just found out the Lego movie was made by the same guys who made Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which I love.
Mhm.
Was made by the same guys who made Clone High, which
Yep.
was an incredible show. And they also made 21 and 22 Jump Street, which I've never seen, but now I kind of have to.
We saw the legal drinking age Jump Street movie this weekend.
Was it good?
Actually, yeah, it was fun. Actually, it was.
The first one
it was
was
in a very fun place.
much better than I thought it would be. So
I've heard it's the smartest dumb movie you will see.
that's pretty
That's a
accurate.
good way to put
I
it.
can see that. Yeah, I like.
Sounds like Clone High.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Clone High's amazing.
Yeah, I want to be.
I got two things. Mario Kart mostly.
Yes.
I'm playing the crap out of Mario Kart 8. I just unlocked Metal Mario. I gotta get into like the 150cc.
I play
now.
as Iggy in that game because he's insanity. I love him so much.
Actually, the I forget the name of the cart, but the cart I use for Luigi, like it gives everybody like a race team, and Iggy and Luigi are on the same
Nice.
team. So that's pretty cool. And I actually watched DreamWorks The Groot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, a lot better than I thought it would be. Like it's holding true to that DreamWorks rule we have.
Yeah, where you always
like I
think
thought
a
it was gonna be
DreamWorks
garbage.
film is going to be like, I don't know about this, and you watch it and you're like, that was pretty good actually.
Yeah, it was legit. It was pretty good. I didn't even know it was Ryan Reynolds until the credits rolled.
Yep.
So
I did, because he was smarmy and good looking. I'm a golem. I can say these things. I don't give a shit.
But so yeah, now I only need to see Ernest and Celestine and The Wind Rises, and I will have gotten to see all the movies that were nominated
Yeah.
for Academy Awards this year.
Window Rising has been on my to-watch list for a while.
Mine too.
Yeah, just
I
open up
caught
some
it,
fresh air.
and it was pretty decent. I liked it.
You caught The Wind Rising?
Yeah.
Well,
It's the only Ghibli film I actually haven't seen. I need to see it. Complete my list.
complete your list.
Complete the list.
Complete that list.
Now.
Things got real sassy.
And Well, we bring the sass and the noise, but not so much the funk. But what Anna brings is what she is bummed out about or excited about for this week.
Oh, we do bummed out too?
Yeah, we've always been bummed out.
Is this a podcast? Like you, I'm excited about How to Train Your Dragon 2. It's very good. I would see it again if you guys wanted.
Yeah.
Let me see. Game of Thrones just finished. Holy crap.
Game and Thronenberg.
Holy crap. They dropped some bombs, as usual.
Some firebombs.
That was something I was a bit bummed about, though, because they didn't add a character that was supposed to be in towards the end.
I think they're kind of holding off on it.
What their reasoning was, and I'm sorry to steal your
Oh,
segment,
no, it's
Anna,
not. I'm interested.
but their reasoning was oh, we had so much going on this season, we didn't want to add her. And it's well, you added a lot of stuff that wasn't in the books that didn't need to be there, and some of it was really bad.
They've got a whole Brotherhood arc to be able to go through as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably laid out all the stories and thought what would be better. So I'll give them credit. Just this season was a little bit iffy with a couple things. So I
think they're beginning to pad their filler, knowing that George R. R. Martin's talking about not finishing this for 8 books, and the 7th book isn't even due out for probably another year or so. So
whenever winter is.
As someone who does not read the books, I am blissfully ignorant.
The funny thing is, if people ask me if they should read the Game of Thrones book, I would actually tell you to watch the show. It is better. It is a better presentation of his world.
This starts off similar.
It's like The Walking Dead. It's
the first season was 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
If you read A Game of Thrones and then watch the first season, they're pretty much exactly the same. So if you want to just get into it, you could do either. But I kind of agree with Chris, because Clash of Kings didn't pull me in as much as A Game of Thrones did.
He gets very, very rambly after a point, especially in book 4.
He likes to describe clothing.
The dragons are coming. They're gonna be amazing.
They're gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. Just wait.
Hold on. Okay, one more
The
season.
other thing.
Yes.
One more.
One more seasoning?
There is an anime
Yes.
where the devil gets a job at McDonald's.
Devil's
I want
a
everyone to
part-time.
know that is a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't bring up devils this time, but just for good measure, devils, demons, the devil, Lucifer, demonic, Satan, devil, demons.
And a Big Mac.
caves.
And a Big Mac.
Would you like fries?
It's practically the same thing.
He's
It is flame broiled.
That's why he's the Burger King of all time.
That's a hell of a good meal. Here we go again.
Damn it.
Oh, beautiful.
You weren't even trying.
I wasn't.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, those jokes are sinful.
Oh.
Yeah, dang.
Just a nice little finish at the end. Just a little after dinner mint.
Take a little after dinner minute.
After dinner mint. I won't ding on that one. Ding.
You really want to, though, don't you?
I do. It's a
Ding
problem.
it, I do. That didn't.
Master of the Light. Okay, so we're talking about heel face turns for this episode, and let's get into what exactly that is. Dimmsdale, do you want to kind of go into the definition or the basic overall idea behind what a heel face turn is?
Absolutely. So heel face turn is a term that was actually derived from professional wrestling. Because in pro wrestling, the bad guys in the fiction, in the kayfabe as it's known there, are known as heels, and the good guys are known as faces. And so to keep things fresh and to keep things interesting, the bad guys can't always stay bad and the good guys can't always stay good. So the heel face turn is, of course, when a bad guy turns into a good guy for whatever reason he might do that. Yeah, and that's what a heel face turn is.
Hooray!
And the trope has extended, obviously. I mean, it's existed forever, but yeah, I think the name was popularized from that era of like
Professional
90s,
wrestling.
80s. Yeah, professional wrestling.
Generally, all of it.
Yeah, basically.
Before I looked this up, I thought it was like a military term, like an about face, pretty much. So like a click, turn, heel sort of thing.
No, and
that's
actually,
kind of what
the
I thought it
face
was.
actually means baby face.
Yep.
Yeah, you got it, baby face. You got it.
You got
But good. Okay, so now that no one's left out and everyone's included, let's go about who do we think of first? When we think of the heel face turn, who is is there a specific kind of character that you think of? Is there a specific kind of like plot or story device that we kind of, go into? Let's see. I'll go bottom up again. So Todd, what is your first kind of thought?
The entire cast of Dragon Ball Z.
Everyone who's not Goku.
Yeah.
Oh, except for Goku.
Goku
Oh no,
is
he
one.
is. He is a guy.
Well, I don't know if his really counts because he was never really. He was meant to be a heel.
It's kind of like it's heel.
You got hit on the
heel
head.
Yeah.
Face turn in like origin.
In utero, yeah.
Yeah.
more like heel face
Space
plant.
utero.
Uh,
Superman utero. Wait, did I miss one?
No, it didn't deserve that.
But
Retroactive.
well, I'm sure there's some pun there with babyface because. Oh, never mind. Keep going.
We won't cry about it.
but like Tenshinhan was like arrival first, and like
Everyone, you can just go down the list. Oolong, Yamcha, Tien and Chaozu.
Piccolo, Vegeta, Majin Buu, like the whole cast.
Wow, yeah, Majin Buu.
So
He wanted chocolate.
chocolate. Chocolate?
Chocolate milk?
Ah, there
Oh my
it is.
God.
But yeah, that's where I go. Like, it's just immediately without going. Because honestly, the first thing I do is go to the professional wrestling, but because we talked about that in media, yeah, I tend to go to Dragon Ball Z and its entire cast.
That's interesting. And it kind of makes the main character stronger too, as a force while he's
it's
going
that,
along to turn all these characters.
Friendship through defeat kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Very
Well,
cool.
and it's kind of you have to wonder how much of it was storyboarded from the
Yeah.
beginning, or how much of it was like, well, Vegeta's popular
So,
now, so
yeah,
we can't kill him off.
let's
Piccolo's
keep him.
popular.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's keep him around somehow.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
they
actually know,
killed
but-
Piccolo to make Piccolo, so. Oh, Dragon Ball.
Oh, Dragon Ball.
Look out. You gotta find those Dragon Balls. Stop till you got them all. The 7 magic balls.
Was that the theme song at one point?
That was the American theme song.
Yeah.
Oh, to the original Dragon Ball.
Dragon,
Yeah,
Watch
when
the
it
Dragon?
like aired in like the 90s,
Oh my
like
God.
92 or 93. It's so good. I have the DVDs. I should let you borrow them.
We can
Yeah.
provide a link in the description too, if we can
Yes.
find it.
Yeah, do that. Oh yeah, no, the opening's all over. It's so good.
Oh, okay.
It's so good.
Cha-la. Hey,
Hey,
cha-la.
I love that song.
What else do you think of first?
Are we going up the list to me? Me?
Yeah.
Well, if we're not doing, sorry, I got distracted by thinking about Dragon Ball theme
We all
songs.
get distracted by the Dragon Balls. They can grant any wish.
It's true. It's kind of amazing. I wish I could remember what I was gonna say. Okay. So, I mean, if
You
we're not
wasted a
doing,
wish.
if we're not doing good or bad yet, if we're just saying the first thing we think of, I think
Yeah.
the first thing I think of is the other trope of the last minute save where everything looks as if it's lost. And I mean, because it's never, during a dull moment where the bad guy knocks on the good guy's door and it's like, hey, I thought about it and you're right. It's always, in the heat of battle, something is happening and the good guy's gonna lose, and suddenly, the big bad gets stabbed in the back by one of his minions or something.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, yeah, I think that's a kind of a recurring theme, is just sort of, you do it for the sake of a twist.
Yeah. No, and I like that too. Anna's giving me a face right now.
No, because what he said just reminded me of a really good one.
Okay.
Good.
Do you
But I
wanna-
don't know if everyone will get this reference in here.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not sure.
Do you want to just explain it?
No, I want Saker to finish because he's very important.
I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh shit, I'm next on the list. So I think of, and it's pretty much the main thing when you look it up, the Grunch.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Grunch who stole Crumbles.
The Grunch who stole the crumble.
Yeah.
And the crumble, they say, made his heart grow 3 sizes that day. And it's it's kind of a classic sort of story. It is basically based around him, trying to fuck up people's Christmas and realizing that it's not about the presents. And I can spoiler it because it's been out for more than 2 years. And we've established that many times.
We're spoiling the Grinch now.
We're spoiling
we
the
are
grunge.
This episode is probably going to be spoiler heavy, seeing as this is kind of a spoiler trope.
Yeah, kind of is.
Well, kind of. Well, I don't know. I think if your entire movie or if your entire franchise is based on the trope, is it really that much of a spoiler? Because if you know anything about it, then you kind of understand. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Like what movie would you say kind of fits into that trope of the entire movie being about?
well, if you want me to do a twofer, then Mega Man. Oh, sorry, no, Mega Mind, not Mega Man, the movie. Because it is all about, and it's one of DreamWorks' lesser-known movies, and it kind of follows the entire superhero kind of capes.
Very big play on the Superman mythos.
Yeah, it really is, and it goes into a character who a villain who actually gets what he wants, who actually gets to take over a city, and him kind of running that and finding that what you wish for isn't necessarily what's good for you or not exactly what you want, and it kind of plays into him maybe trying to fill out a different role and seeing where he actually wants to be, what might actually make him happy. That movie was actually kind of a love letter to Cape Comics. As a person who, I maybe have read a few comics in my day, as I look back at my shelf of unread books. And, it seems like they really, kind of love the genre, the Cape and superhero mythos for that DreamWorks movie for Megamind. Yeah, they did a really
good job of making it a lovable parody, pretty much, because there's a lot. Like, Metro Man in it is pretty much like Superman. But they do a lot of, just a lot of little nods that are really good in it. It was a movie I enjoyed a lot. Like I said, it was just, a really good, just love letter. Just a good parody of it, of the whole genre.
And it is entirely based on the trope of heel face turn, about a character who is just directly bad and is trying to be good. But it seems like a lot of these villain movies are too, with Despicable Me and I don't know, anything that kind of stars just a villain. They don't want it to be they don't want to market it to kids and have it just be being evil is good in any way. So it just kind of turns into that. Almost, but we can get into that later because I have delayed Chris Moonjump for far too long.
All right, well, I've got a twofer. Both of them are kind of from kind of my first examples, like my first introductions to the trope.
Bring it on.
Even would be actually Chrono Trigger, where you actually wind up recruiting Magus to be able to get the best ending.
Oh, I never got that far.
No. Hey, okay,
it's okay. I
The
already
video
went
game's
there.
been out for more than 2 years.
You were. By the way, Bill, you need to recruit Magnus to be able to get the best ending, but you got to do some shit to be able to do that. So.
Yeah, that's actually why I know, is because I know about the multiple endings.
You guys go into Chrono Trigger and maybe Magnus and what that means also?
Well, effectively, Magus is in many ways, he's not your big bad.
Okay.
But he is the cause.
He's like your
of
mid-level boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he's
like the guy who was
basically
antagonizing you, but then you beat him, and
he is your main antagonist without being kind of the world ender.
Okay.
And he was kind of on my list too, because what's interesting about him is that he teams up with you because he realizes oh, there's a much bigger threat than both of us.
Yeah, it's not even that he necessarily reforms his ways. It's just a truce.
And that what's interesting is that kind of goes into teaming up against a bigger threat also as a trope all on its own, because we've seen it a lot. And I usually pull from comic books, but there's a couple times where Galactus stops trying to eat the world and actually helps out the Earth and everyone, which is kind of a head-turning moment. But that's a trope for another time. Well, maybe we'll work into it. Who knows?
Well, and then the other one that I think is that we would be kind of remiss to not include would be Darth
Oh
Vader.
yeah.
Ooh, that's so wizard.
Yeah, who actually does a face heel face turn.
Yeah, he does.
It's like a pirouette.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's, I mean, that kind of feeds into one of the tropes that's related to face heel turn, which is called the revolving door, which is when a series has gone on long enough, you do face heel, face heel, face heel, face heel so many times that, you know, it becomes this...
It becomes meaningless.
Yeah, it becomes meaningless. And actually, I was going to talk about this later, but I think if we're talking about media, Mark from The Room does a face heel turn so many times that it becomes Johnny's my best friend. Oh, I'm gonna, you know, do things behind
Fuck
his
him
back.
over. Know what you're doing. Yeah.
Exactly. Mark from The Room is a great example of revolving door.
Is that's so sad.
And we can-
that
And we can talk more about that on Who Does It Badly, because I think that really factors into it later on in the podcast.
And that's actually one of the things that you know, as we kind of move into the segues in terms of who does it really well. I recently have played through 2 games by the game company Spike Chunsoft,
Okay.
who was responsible for the original Dragon Warriors and things.
Cool.
And also they moved on to do the 2 games I'm talking about are 999, which is 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 doors, and Virtue's Last Reward. And the interesting thing with it is basically you almost have conditional heel face turns.
That comes after
Because,
shampoo heel face turns.
Yes.
Okay.
Ding.
Where you have to first you have to repeat.
Okay, well, you rinse and then you repeat.
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically because depending on what circumstances you actually place your sidekicks in depends on whether or not they might break or they might reform or they might doubt kind of their own motives in the whole game. And it's the only way to actually really be able to find the best answers to basically figure out what pairs try to not murder each other and then kind of manipulate the emotions as you play through. And it's really well done in terms of, you know, realizing that it's not just you know, sometimes what causes a person to go from bad to good or good to bad is not necessarily as clearly defined as sometimes it's always made out to be.
Huh. That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an absolute mind screw. So, you know, it's great.
It's great. It's fun to fuck over minds, kids. So just go out to
go
your
out and do it.
nearest elementary school and tell kids that you're them from the future. And
we yeah.
Oh, okay. Utropia
yeah.
does not endorse.
Redacted.
Don't go back in time.
Don't.
Mess with elementary school kids.
Well, you can always go with my master plan to screw with children, which is to age them using digital enhancement technology and then hang a photo of them up, and then when they turn 18, they'll realize they were the person in the picture all along.
Why do you guys have so many plans for screwing with children's minds?
Huh?
Like at the ready even. That's amazing.
Oh, let's just say I always go for the long con there.
Well,
Oh, okay.
we're playing ourselves as villains so that we can bring it all around later on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
you see,
got it.
you gotta be, you gotta
Hey.
wait for it, man. You can't-
They just
Yeah.
gotta heel face the music sometime.
Oh.
And for the encore, Bill, Mr.Yu video.
I'll just ring that fucking bell. Special guest appearance by Allison.
Bye, Allison. Don't include me in this podcast.
All right, I have 2 that I thought of. One, I'm not sure if it really counts, but it makes me very angry, and it was the first thing I
Okay.
thought of when I was thinking of like good guys turning bad. Was Ricky Barnes from 616 universe of Marvel, who technically isn't from that universe. Anyway, she's the female version of Bucky
Right.
Barnes in an alternate dimension, who's Bucky in that universe, and she gets transported to the 616 main universe. But then later you find out she was just Onslaught the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's stupid, and I
Do you
hate
want to go into who Onslaught is and how that... Look, if we're going to talk about something
Stupid.
bad,
brain monster. I hate him.
it is...
He's the everything that embodiment of bad in the 90s. He's the X-Men's Carnage.
But he's not completely radically 90s.
Yeah.
He's almost.
He's okay. Imagine a super ripped Magneto with Charles Xavier's brain in it, who's just totally evil. Did I miss anything?
Nope, that pretty much sums it up.
That's about it.
He's got really big shoulders.
He's kind of spiky.
He's been on the shoulder machine for quite a long time.
But one that I think is a good example, which you can use almost the whole line of them, but Rider
Oh
Man.
yeah.
Riderman?
Yeah.
From
V3.
Kamen Rider V3, he starts off as kind of an antagonist and then joins V3 later in the show. Because he mostly just looks out for the kids, because there's always kids in like the Showa era. But yeah, so like he'll fight V3 if I think it was Neo Shocker,
sounds
right?
about
In that
right.
one Todd. And yeah, so like they would threaten like, oh, we're gonna kill all these kids if you don't fight V3, so he'd have to go fight them. But eventually he realizes like these guys suck. So
I'm gonna
it just
hang out
helps
with the
V3
other
out.
guys now.
Actually, Rider 2 would be actually an even better example, because I think they fight is like, yeah. And then that's like all the Rider 2s go to fight Rider 1, and he gets like hit on the head.
Yeah,
and becomes
even
a
in
good guy.
Kamen Rider the First, which was a really cool remake.
Oh yeah, V3
well,
was
that's
the
in
bad guy in
the
that
second.
one.
But in the first
Oh
movie,
yeah, that was in the second. Oh, but Rider 2 was, yeah.
Kamen Rider #1 is kind of, it's like a brainwash thing. So he kind of starts as supposed to be a villain. It's another one of those face turns by origin, is because he they brainwash him and he snaps out of it and then starts beating the hell out of them instead.
Well, that's in they send Rider 2 after him, because
Yeah,
Rider 2
yeah.
has more unstable working done. So like they're like, well, we won't it's the blood
Yeah.
transfusions they had to
Such
do
a
for him.
That was such a
Like
cool
we won't do that anymore if you don't fight for
remake.
us. Right? Oh man,
Yeah.
Kamen Rider the first was
Yeah,
good.
the second one was,
The second,
wasn't
not
as
so much.
great, but if you get a chance, watch the first one. It was really cool.
If you could watch any Showa era
Yeah.
Rider, go for it.
Yay! And writing in to finish us off with what we think of first, it's Anna Cranberry.
What up? So,
Yes.
I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just going to put this tag here. Mass Effect 1,
Mass Effect 1.
literally at the very end of the game, one
Yeah.
of the villains you've been fighting the entire time, you can just talk him into killing himself.
Yep.
What?
That's right.
Out of nowhere. He wants to murder you the entire time, and you can tell him, hey, I don't think you should. And he goes, alright. and kills
Okay, we're
himself.
done here.
It's just, hey, but come on. He's like, oh, you make a good point.
You know what? Up to this point, didn't really think you were right, but right now,
You know what? It sounds really
Yep.
good
There's
right
a
now.
certain dialogue tree where you can just completely skip phase 1 of that boss fight and just go right into the final boss fight.
I officially
I think
don't
that's
feel
how I
bad
did it,
about
actually.
not playing Mass Effect anymore. That sounds ridiculous.
It's, well,
Like, they try to
it
give
plays out a
reasons,
little
but-
bit better than the way.
Oh, okay.
But
It's because he, to get a little bit more into it, he's kind of like one of those Paragon characters that turned evil.
Oh.
Like he himself did a heel face turn,
Big
just
deal.
the other way around. And so, like when you kind of appeal to his emotional side, he's like does one of those like, my God, what have I done?
I see.
things.
but the solution is to kill himself. Okay, I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. All right, so that's a pretty good transition into who does it well, actually. Okay, you know what? I'm going to start in the middle, and then I'm going to go down. And then next time I'm going to start in the middle and go up. So I'm going to go first because I'm a big selfish guy, and I host this podcast every week. Thank you for listening. Okay, so I'm going to go into... Oh, comic books. Great, thanks, Ken. So... Someone who I think does it well is an example of a face heel and a heel face, and that is the comic book series of both Irredeemable and Incorruptible. It's a story pretty much based around the thought of what if Superman wasn't mentally stable enough to handle all of the powers that he has, and he was insecure and he could hear everything that everyone says about him all the fucking time while shouldering a huge responsibility. And that's what Irredeemable is. So the story starts when he actually starts losing his shit and coming back. It's the Plutonian. Is the name of this Superman character, and it is published, I think, by Boom Comics. And while that series is
thought
it?
it was Image.
No, it's Boom, actually. Yeah, no, I'm looking back. Nah,
Okay.
I could run back there and check. I could even Google it if I wanted to. If you want to prove me I'm wrong, then leave a smiley face, and I'll know exactly what you
Nope,
mean.
it's Boone.
Okay. Leave a
I looked it
frowny
up.
face if Ken was right on the podcast. And going alongside of Irredeemable is Incorruptible, which is the Plutonians' biggest enemy, whose name is Max Damage, which is this like biker thug who gets more and more indestructible and more powerful the longer he's awake. But he still falls victim to the mental problems that happen the longer you stay awake. So he could stay awake for like 3 days and just like get thrown through the sun, but he'll still be crazy as all shit. And his storyline is about pretty much treating being a villain like AA. He can't take a single step. He doesn't do anything illegal at all. He does everything by the book. He treats it as one step in the wrong direction, and he's back on the path, and he can't do that. And he starts it off in this apocalypse pretty much created by the Plutonian.
Yeah, I actually think his origin was really interesting. The fact that like he just saw what this dude was capable of and was like, well, I'm not doing that anymore.
He was like robbing a bank or doing like something villainous, and he saw the Plutonian just like murder a bunch of people in the street, and he said, okay, there's no one to go against this guy. I was like the only thing.
Yeah, I think what it was is he had been awake for like two and a half days. And he said he was like getting kind of crazy and thinking like, oh, I could totally take on the Plutonian if he showed up. And then he shows up and murders a bunch of people. And he's like, oh, God.
I can't do this at all. And he kind of built his own following too. But yeah, if you are willing to purchase about, I think there's like 9 books of Irredeemable and like 8 or 6 books of Incorruptible, then I would highly recommend doing it because it is one of the few series that does really good kind of story where they both play off of each other. So yeah, that is my recommendation. And I will go down the list to Dimmsdale.
Hey, I had a couple good ones.
Okay.
The one that popped into my head first, honestly, and it's so silly because it's almost plotless in a way, but Donkey Kong kind of popped into my head immediately.
Yeah.
The first time we encounter him in the Nintendo universe, he's a villain. I mean, he's captured Pauline, and Mario has to go save her. And I mean, it's more than just now they're racing go-karts together and playing tennis together or whatever.
Technical, he's an old man.
You're right.
They'd say it would be Mario.
A record.
Oh boy, Donkey Kong
Cranky
Country.
ass, old ass,
You're right.
dusty
No,
ass.
if you want to get really technical, it was Mario who was the villain.
Well, and then we get into Donkey Kong Jr., but that's a turn for.
Yeah.
I guess Mario does a face heel.
Oh no, even in Donkey Kong, he treated Donkey Kong really poorly,
that's-
and that's why Donkey Kong breaks out and steals Paulina.
Well, but is that really an excuse?
He's
an
like
eye
an
for eye leaves
anti-villain.
everyone blind, Mr.Yu video.
Okay, he's a sympathetic villain.
Yeah, okay, but you're right. But I mean, and now we go so far, of course, in Donkey Kong Country, he's good, but not really, just because he's kind of territorial. But then even in games like Mario Party, he's the anti-Bowser. It could either be a Bowser Square or a Donkey Kong Square, whereas Bowser does bad things and he does good things. So I think he's kind of fully made the turn to a good guy.
By then.
But kind of without plot. But one of the really good ones that I thought of was too often the trope for the heel face turn is like, because then you can have like sort of a badass anti-hero, like, oh, I used to kill people and now I save people, but he's still kind of dark. But if anybody watches the Venture Brothers, Henchman 21 turns into, because he goes from a villain to an anti-hero, but it's just the best parody of like 90s heel face anti-hero. He's like badass and he has knives and
He has like the Wolverine claws at one point.
He's
too.
got like little retractable knives that he uses as Wolverine claws. But it's just great because Venture Brothers is really good at taking tropes and just turning them on their heads or completely making fun of them. And I think that's one of the times they did it best.
Mm-hmm. Now, Venture Brothers is really good at parodying and kind of like commenting on that Johnny Quest, Scooby-Doo sort of era Adventure Time, or not Adventure Time, but
Pretty much just any
Adventure
old
era.
adventure cartoons.
Yeah. Oh, Adventure to Ice King could be one of the best ones. Yeah. I mean, sort of, kind of.
He's kind of
'Cause he's not
complicated
he
character.
falls into the
It hasn't been 2 years yet for that.
Oh, that's true. Well, let's just say that he falls into a very moral gray area where he's chaotic neutral, I think,
Yeah.
more than he's heel face
And they
or face
turned
heel or
him more
anything.
to lawful neutral.
Yeah, chaotic. Yeah. But and then the other one I had was Hexadecimal from Reboot.
Whoa,
It's been much
nice.
longer than 2
Yeah, that
years.
is a good one.
Reboot is one of my favorite shows of all time, and she does such a fantastic in the 4th season, which is the one that they made after they took a really long break. There's just there's a fantastic moment with her where she fully embraces her good nature finally, because she was another one who was kind of chaotic neutral, doing evil things just because they were fun.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we see that often enough, because we have characters like, Joker or Kefka or whatever that do whatever's fun, but whatever's fun always happens to be evil. She just does whatever's fun, and then once she kind of sobers up from it, she does something that's right. And I don't feel like we have that sort of redeemable moment for a lot of chaotic neutral evil characters.
I love that show.
Oh, me too, so much.
It fits with her the most too, because she was always the very dramatic character. So like having that kind of character development, I think, fit her the best.
Yep.
Didn't Hack
Anyway,
and Slash
those are-
do a heel face turn in that too?
They did, but I mean,
They were directly
yeah.
comedic relief at the same time, though.
I would,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say
Yeah.
they were just like true
Yeah.
neutral almost.
Yeah, they were with Megabyte.
Like they were just doing
Yeah,
a job.
exactly. So, and actually, yeah, it's true. And I mean, well, no, never mind. I was gonna say Enzo does a face,
No, he
but
just
he
turns
doesn't
into an
really. He just turns
anti-hero.
from a hero to an anti-hero.
His clone
Yeah,
goes
that's
into clones.
Oh boy, that's a
Whoa.
complicated ending.
Yeah. Yeah. And the hexadecimal one kind of fits in with the you have all the correct terminology and I don't, and I host the show.
The revolving door?
Not the revolving door, but the kind of at the very end, like the seeing the light sort of at the very end of
Oh
it.
sure. Yeah. She has to sacrifice herself for. So yeah, that
Yeah.
last moment save sort
last
of.
moment save.
Yeah. That's not actually that's a term I made up, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You could laugh at me and pretty
No,
much.
yeah, that's.
I could.
I
Look
think
it up,
everybody
too.
talks about it like that. Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
I may or may
Really?
not have read it in a
I'll have
book.
I'll have to pick that up in my Golem periodical that I read weekly. Well, Golem years are 4 times, but anyway, in my Golem monthly. Todd,
This
who do
one
you think does
falls
very
into,
well?
I guess, not even the heel, but the quasi-neutral interface. But I love it because I just love the character. Is Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like that punch clock villain where he's just kind of like the big, really stupid, lovable lug. And he's sided with the villain Yzma for some reason or another. I think she just convinces him to do what she tells him to. But spoiler alert, the heel face turn comes when she insults his spinach puffs that he makes. And he argues with like shoulder devil and shoulder angel for a while, and it's just a beautiful heel face turn, I think.
It's
I
really
love
good.
that movie in general. I love because it's another one of those like really good parodies of like the buddy film, and it's ridiculous and over the top, but yeah, that's like I just love that example. I don't know how if it does it really well, but and there's kind of a little bit of a build up to it, but I love how it's executed, and yeah, that's mine.
No, I like that one, and it's kind of a good use of like. Well, because Kronk is not only the comedic relief. Well, technically,
Yeah.
a lot of characters
It's
in there are
hard to
comedic
actually-
relief, but they serve another purpose.
Comedic relief in that movie. The correct answer is everyone.
No, but with that character, it's kind of funny because you kind of get it's like he's
Yeah,
not
you're like,
really.
yeah, he's not a bad
evil.
guy. He's just like on the bad guy's side. And that happens a couple times too. A handful of heel face turns happen because like a character just doesn't know they're like on the bad guy side. So when they figure it out, they switch sides. A good example, well, I don't know about how good of an example it is, but Street Fighter the movie, Zangief is like that.
Yes. Oh, I was gonna bring that up, but I was so afraid that I would be laughed out of it.
Oh, now I have to leave.
Now come back.
But yeah, it's the same thing where the character is just kind of like dopey or whatever, just doesn't or like naive. N from Pokemon Black and White is like that. He's just kind of naive to the whole thing, doesn't realize he's on the bad guy side. So I think that's kind of an interesting way to use it, which I guess is getting ahead of where we are usually. But I think that's a cool example of how it's used.
No, I like it a lot, actually. All good examples. Anna has told me with her cranberry telepathy to skip her over. So we will be going next to Bill, Mr.Yu video.
I have one. I don't know how good it is. It's very subtle if it is one, but Bernie from Gundam 0081 Pocket.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
He starts off as the typical Xeon soldier, and towards the middle of it, something happens to have him be more of the hero. He just wants to save the people of the colony he's in rather than serve the army he serves in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people have actually seen that in here, but
Yeah.
Well, Gundam 0080 is my second favorite Gundam series. The first series, of course, being G Gundam.
And my favorite Bernie is the weekend at. I apologize for that.
I don't. I fully endorse it. Utropia endorses Weekend at Bernie's. I said it.
Are you sure that? I mean, Bill, is that Bernie in that one young? Is he a young guy?
yeah, he's
No, that wasn't. I mean, I just wondered if it was a Weekend at Bernie's. I'm sorry.
Tentative.
I was just
pun.
wondering.
Yeah, he's kind of
Yeah,
a younger
okay.
guy.
Are you sure it isn't a prequel to Weekend at Bernie's?
I'm so sorry for what I caused.
It might be.
At what cost? Actually, I'm surprised you didn't come up with this, Bill, but I'm gonna throw it out to you. What about Venom?
Oh.
Oh yeah. I don't know how well I would say that is.
Bill's a
Well, it took me a second to really think about Venom. He had his
Lethal
own comic where he
Enforcer
was
Venom,
kind
I
of the
believe
hero,
it
but
was.
Yeah, he had a license to kill. That's not a joke. That was one of the comics.
I would say
Yeah.
Agent Venom would be
Yeah.
a good example. 90s extreme
No,
Venom.
that
Probably
was one of
not
my
as much.
first thoughts, but I kind of kept that in the back.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those characters that we kind of talked about earlier, where they became a hero just so they could be kind of dark and edgy
Yeah,
hero.
from
feels
villain
like.
to anti-hero. Technically, Punisher started off that way.
Yeah.
He was introduced
Was
as
he a villain?
Yeah.
foe to Spider-Man, and then he found out that the guy who sent him after Spider-Man was the Jackal, who's kind of just a big douche, and he was like, "No, this guy's
Oh.
perfectly fine. Let him be." So
Oh, Cloneman?
yeah,
The Jackal Cloneman?
yeah. So yeah,
Cloneman.
Punisher
Miles
starts off
Warren.
as kind of an antagonist, and then definitely goes into that role of anti-hero.
They're both sort of the products of this character is so popular we can't just get rid of them, like we mentioned before with Vegeta. And that was kind of Venom, is just that he was bigger than Spider-Man at a certain point in the mid 80s, and they just said, "All right, let's give him his own comic series
I'm gonna say
and make him kind of
Wolverine
good,
started
just so we
that
can
way
sell books."
too. He was
Yeah,
a
I was
Hulk
gonna say that too.
antagonist.
Oh, come on.
Yep, original.
But how much? I mean, did he have a whole lot of plot line related to him back when?
No,
I don't know
I'm
anything
pretty
about
sure
early
it was
Wolverine.
just- I can't remember. I do remember it was an Incredible Hulk he was going up against. But I think just at the end of the issue, he figures out the Hulk's not a bad guy or something like that.
Oh, I see.
And if I'm wrong, by all means, someone call me out in the comments or something. Yeah,
Put a
winky
winky
frowny
s-
face.
winky
if Todd
frowny
doesn't
face if
know
Todd is wrong
Wolverine
here.
properly.
Winky smiley if
And
he's right.
a 3 with a squiggly line coming out of it, which is a butt fart. You can see it now. And a crease? What do you think? What crease crosses the crease mind? Tentative.
Well, kind of the first one I think of that really does it really well would be Boromir from the Lord of the Rings.
Oh no, it's Event Horizon time.
No, Event Horizon! I can't simply go there. I can't walk into that.
Well, because Boromir, winds up basically going from kind of reluctantly being added to the Fellowship of the Ring to basically being seduced by the power to the point where he's willing to do anything to take it.
Mm-hmm.
But then he has that phenomenal scene where he actually, sacrifices himself so that the group can get away. And it's one of those, like, one of the things I've really always enjoyed about the trope is because it's a very common storyline of the redemptive character. Where yeah, they've done something bad, but there is still an opportunity for them to make it
that
right.
Redemption, it's kind of crazy because like you'll have a heel face turn, but it will be very short-lived because the redemption is immediately followed by the character's death.
Yeah. Redemption equals death.
Let that be a lesson, kids. Never ever change your viewpoints.
You will be shot with arrows.
On anything, ever.
Utropia does not induce that previous statement.
We of course mean Ken's statement and not my arrow
It does endorse,
statement.
however, being... we endorse arrows. As a general concept.
You can change so long as you were good before and you're changing to bad. You just can't change. You can't redeem yourself. That'll
I was
kill you.
prepping.
Yeah.
I was prepping the bell and I accidentally...
Preemptive.
Yeah. I was waiting for a green arrow joke of some kind and it just never happened. I just quiver with anticipation for when it was going to happen. And it never did.
You're such a drama Oliver Queen.
I guess that's another one in your arsenal.
We're so speedy with these puns.
Oh, this is... Oh, jeez.
Welcome to the Bell-Faced Turn episode, and that's the title.
Bell-Faced.
Well, and then the other one that I would go for, which is, spoilers for Kill la Kill.
Oh, well, we can't. Well, no.
Hey, we've already given them like 10 seconds at this point.
Well, Ken, I think was
no,
watching.
I'm done.
Kill la Kill.
Let me.
Yes,
sure?
wait.
Okay.
Yes. That girl with them rags, yo, she died, right? Them rags, yo, she did.
Yeah.
As far as I know. I don't know.
All right. Well, basically,
no. I was the one.
No. Well, what I would go for was Kiryuin's character when she actually goes through her major reveal of basically kind of being in many ways the gatekeeper to Ryuko's power.
Huh.
And actually winds up swapping sides, where you go from basically her appearing to be the big bad, but it's actually because there's almost a difference in perspective on what they actually need to do. It's a little different from like the Magus scenario, where it's a bad guy who still kind of stays bad for Magus, whereas Kiryuin was always working towards the benefit of humanity. It's just Ryuko couldn't see that from where she was.
She couldn't see behind the scowl.
Yes. Well, who can?
I can't.
I mean, really.
All I see is scowls every day. It's carved into my pumpkin golem face.
I had written down on a piece of paper preceding this episode, Bill will mention Satsuki. So I'm actually surprised that it wasn't.
Well, I guess you owe me free mozzarella sticks for your own bed.
Why do I trap myself like this?
Nah, that's right.
I thought it was too recent, so I didn't. I'm sorry. I failed you.
There you go. Don't have to worry about me, Saker. I am all right with violating social mores. It's kind of what I do.
No, that is a very good one, actually, because she kind of has her own agenda too, and it's not, you see her as the antagonist, but it is really their goals did not line up until kind of the last minutes, which is very cool. All right, and Anna Cranberry,
Yes.
coming back around from Cranberry Space, where you reside.
Ooh. So I finally thought of one.
Okay.
One of my favorite shows, actually, Paranoia Agent.
Paranoia Agent.
Every episode has different characters,
Yep.
and the heel face turn is essentially a physical character.
Yeah.
They create the turn in all the characters that are featured.
Yep.
Essentially, it's just bam, they're hit with the bat. Now they're totally different.
Yep.
And now they're not assholes anymore.
Well, debatable.
Debatable.
Not after the halfway point of the series. They go
Just
right back
okay and dangerously hover over the bell.
It's my life. Dangerously hovering over that bell.
Dangerously.
I'm well. I want to say bell. What's really cool about not only that trope, but this episode, is that we are at the hour mark, actually. We're having a lot of fun. So what I might do, if you guys are cool, if Saker, you're cool with sticking around for another hour, I might split this up into two. And we might have a
Sure, I can do
two-parter.
that.
So the first episode will be the heel, and the next episode will be the turn, maybe. So, yeah, until we talk geek, when I'd post the next episode whenever I goddamn feel like it. Bye-bye.